special edition of the Draft Countdown podcast. You're not crazy. It's Tuesday and we're going live, but it's Senior Bowl week, and Senior Bowl week is special here at Draft Countdown. And I am your co-host, Brian Bosarge, joined as always by my co-host, Shane P. Hallam. Shane, Senior Bowl practice day one in the books. I was out there today, and we couldn't have asked for any better weather than we got today.
Yeah, well, look, everyone came down expecting to be cold and rainy, as Mobile often is, and you're looking a little tan there, Brian. So
Man,
that's always good.
Little color in the cheeks today, if you will, there, Shane. I will say this: it was a little chilly when I got to the stadium this morning. Had the old deep fried draft hoodie on. That baby was gone about 30 minutes into that first practice. I had it kicked off. I was short sleeving out there today. It was nice. But we ain't here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about the practices, and we had some big standouts today. First full day of practice. Now, as I preface, the Tuesday practice, they go in helmets, shoulder pads, not full pads. So I don't really take full stock into the offensive defensive line stuff today, because I feel like you're leaving a little something in the tank, right? If you don't have knee pads on, right? So I don't, but the skill position players, you can gauge everything about them, right?
Yeah. Look, I think there's still some things to see some of those matchups in the pit and get a sense of. I almost feel like you get a decent sense of footwork and handwork sometimes from the linemen. But you're right; it's about the skill positions, receivers, corners, running backs. I think that was the big takeaway. Definitely where my focus was. I don't know if it's going to happen all week, but thankfully they got the film up a couple hours right after practices, so I actually got to watch and get to contribute, which is exciting.
Hopefully, fingers crossed we'll have that the rest of the week. Now there is a media event immediately after practice tomorrow. I don't know if that will affect anything as far as that goes with the film or not. It will definitely affect my timeliness of my article going up like it did today. It'll be up a little bit later tomorrow night for sure. But if you haven't read it, I'm going to read some of the stuff that I wrote. You can go to draftcountdown.com as soon as this is over and read my day one notebook. Paul's going to have his go up. We'll probably have that post first thing in the morning, hopefully. His notes from practice today. So, but Shane, you have watched the film. I was at practice. I've watched some film before we came on tonight. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the national team. That was the morning practice. They started at 9:30 this morning, went for 2 hours. I went into today mostly wanting to focus on the running backs and the tight ends and the linebacker one-on-ones a little bit. That was kind of like my main area of focus. And I was not disappointed with the running backs. And it's very rare in an all-star game practice, right? The running backs stick out. But on this national team, for sure, that was the case.
It was. The national team, is. I had three big circles on my sheet of running backs that impressed with big runs. Like you said, some of the linebacker on running back drills. It was impressive, and I think it says something when a running back can stand out in practices, especially this early, because usually you're just looking for traits more than big plays, and some of these guys are making big plays.
Right. Like last year, Tajay Spears was really the only running back that anybody talked about. That's not the case today. The sad part is the probably least talked about running back of the 5 on the national team was your guy, Isaiah Davis from South Dakota State, and he still had some standout plays. So it's not that he did anything bad. He just did not stand out as much. And probably, in my opinion, the most standout of the running backs was Marshall's Rasheen Ali.
Well, right, which is surprising. He's probably in the bottom tier in terms of the NFL draft. We're talking day 3 for Rasheen Ali, but you saw the athleticism and explosion. That's what he brings to the table. He's had success in college. I think he showed it today, being able to get to the outside. Ultimately, look, I felt like it was a huge running back day. I think your guy, former Gamecock Marshawn Lloyd, was very impressive, consistent. And then to me, the standout was Dylan Laub from New Hampshire. I mean, getting to the outside, outrunning some of these, national team Big Ten guys. He's going off. I mean, Dylan Laub looked like, at the easy comp, it looked like Danny Woodhead out there being able to have that top gear, being able to secure the football and get to the outside. So it was Ali, Lloyd, Laub were all impressive to me.
I actually found out today his name is pronounced lobby, like the lobby of the hotel.
Oh, really?
Found that out today.
That would have been like my fifth choice for pronunciation. So
lobby. That's it. I was taken aback a little bit going back to Rasheen Ali, his skilled route running. Like he put on a display on the route running. Like Lobby fully expected a guy who had 290 receiving yards in a game. Fully expected him to smoke every linebacker he had. He did not disappoint. Marshawn Lloyd's quickness, like his footwork in the hole, tremendous as well. And Kamani Vidal, not going to sleep on him either. The Troy running back also had some good reps today as well amongst the running backs.
Yeah, he was fine. I think it's tough to compete with, like you said, Ali's great route running and athleticism and Lobby's day, but a good running back group for the national team.
Yeah, but with the running back group looking so good, what does that mean for us here, Shane? The linebackers didn't cover worth a damn, and in my opinion, the two that really struggled the most, Peyton Wilson, NC State had some good reps mixed in with some bad reps. I thought Maris Lufau, the Notre Dame linebacker, had probably the best rep of any of the linebackers as far as coverage goes. But Jontre Hunter, the linebacker of Georgia State, and JT Bertrand, the linebacker of Notre Dame, not so hot.
Yeah, I mean, Bertrand definitely is not a coverage linebacker in the slightest. You could see that. Peyton Wilson was on my yuck list. Part of it stems from the weigh-in. His arms are some super short. Like it's really bad, even noticeable on tape, which kind of put that number to it. And yeah, I mean, I thought Peyton Wilson's bad reps were bad. So it's tough for linebackers, and they're another position. I think it's tough to stand out in practices unless you're doing something incredible. Because you're not tackling anybody. So really saying like, oh, this player was bad, or Peyton Wilson had some bad reps, it may not mean anything ultimately in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson's just production at the linebacker position is going to get him drafted in middle rounds. But yeah, the arm length is concerning. Maybe, and I'm going to be honest, I fully expected this going in. But the tight ends on this national team, I don't think I've seen a less athletic. I don't think I could have drawn up a less athletic group of tight ends than the three on the national team as far as ability to separate from linebackers and safeties and, create any space at all. This was not this group. When I'm talking AJ Barner from Michigan, Brevin Spanford from Minnesota, and Theo Johnson from Penn State. Theo Johnson of the three was easily the best.
Yeah, and even with Theo Johnson, I was hoping he would be the one athletic one of the group, and that didn't happen. It kind of like Theo Johnson's college career, just never put it all together. But yeah, I mean, Barner and Brevin Spanford are not pass-catching tight ends in the league. They're going to be blockers, and Theo Johnson looks like he's going to be a developmental player. We'll talk more tight end to the American team where some actually got to stand out.
A little bit better over there. I will say a quick note on Brevin Spanford. We were wondering who was going to be the tight end on the national team that would rep at fullback. It's him.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
All right, let's move on to the we'll get the other skill players out of the way here, Shane, because I know that's probably the first thing you watched was those wide receiver DV one-on-ones as soon as you got access to that film. Roman Wilson, Michigan. What a day.
Man, I mean, he got open every rep I saw, at least. He was open, even if the ball didn't get there. Roman Wilson was ready to make a big play. No, there was not a corner that covered him that could cover Roman Wilson. So, yeah.
He was the Tank Dell of day one from last year, right? When the receiver that garnered the attention of everyone on day one last year was Tank Dell from Houston, who went to the Texans, had a great rookie season. Roman Wilson was that guy in this first practice for both teams, in my opinion, that had that vibe coming off of him. You agree?
I agree, though I think there were others that lived up close to that for both teams.
And one of those guys I thought was Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky. Thought he had a great day. And seeing him in person in the shorts and seeing the size of his quads and his legs, those Deebo Samuel comparisons are not going away.
Well, that's what Malachi Corley was at Western Kentucky, the quadzilla, tough to bring down, but able to do everything player. I think we saw in Roman Wilson to an extent. Michigan didn't throw the ball enough to use him in that way. But Roman Wilson was that way to an extent, right? I think this is what these type of players, where they excel. You can see on those one-on-ones, they know how to get open in man coverage.
Right. Another guy who found himself open quite a bit on that national team was Ricky Pearsall from Florida.
I think we knew that the route running is what Ricky Pearsall does so well. And you could see, watching the film, you could see the footwork just so crisp, sharp. The cuts were so sharp. I don't know how you mirror that one-on-one well without any type of help or boundary. I think Ricky Pearsall is right up there, the top of the list for this team.
The guy who measured in trying to be the next Tank Dell did not look so tankish today in practice was Jacob Cowing from Arizona. Had some struggles with the drops today.
Yeah, and that happens, I think, as long as it's not a consistent problem through the week. Right. I generally don't mind too much. But Cowing had a couple bad drops.
Bad drops.
That, when they're that bad, you definitely take notice.
Another receiver that I thought bared mentioning was Brendan Rice from Southern Cal. He struggled with some separation a little bit today. You agree?
He did. I thought there were some good reps for Brendan Rice, though. And then others where he didn't seem to be able to get that separation. I think it depended on the route. If he really had a break, he couldn't get open. He's wasting time. But on some of the 9 routes, some of the routes where he could be a little more consistent, that was good. And I'll say Tez Walker from North Carolina as well. I thought had a really good day from what I saw on the film. Made Kalen King from Penn State just look absolutely silly a couple times in the practice film I was watching.
Yeah. So let's get over to the DBs. You mentioned Kalen King, and him and his teammate Johnny Dixon didn't fare too well in the old one-on-ones today.
Yeah, rough. I mean, I think Kalen King has been such an interesting NFL draft case because he was getting mocked by us, too, in the top 15 going into the season because of the athleticism. And then this season just did not play up to it. And I think this first day kind of shows that man coverage struggle. And Dixon had the same thing. We saw Penn State move more to zone coverage, I think, because they lacked some of the man cover skills that they're supposed to have this year.
We kind of saw this last year with the Wachita Baptist corner when he came in, kind of struggled a little bit. I saw that today with Willie Drew from Virginia State. He was above his skis in practice today.
And that's expected. I think when you're talking a big small school jump, especially
he's D2, right?
Right. So we're talking big jump here. Corner position is one of the hardest to play in these practices because you have no help against these receivers. If Willie Drew tomorrow is a little bit better and Wednesday is a step better, then now we're cooking. That's what you want to see. You want to see that progression through the week for those small school players.
But if he gets cooked the rest of the week, he's cooked.
Yeah, I mean, once again, the D2 jump it's a big one.
It's big. A corner who is not D2 but Power 5 or Power 4, or I don't know what they are now, but anyway, Washington State corner Cha Smith-Wade, he didn't have his best outing either.
Yeah, and I think for Cha Smith-Wade, and I saw it a little bit with Kalen King too. I think the ability you can't really press very well in these one-on-ones, right? When you have some of those reps where they're kind of asking to look at press, you're more looking at technique. I thought Cha Smith-Wade did well with the press technique. If the receiver beats you, there's nothing he could do. So it was a struggle, but I think he did okay.
Before we get to the best corner of the day for both teams.
Yeah. I think it's an easy choice.
Let's talk about Cam Hart from Notre Dame. I thought he looked good out there today.
I think he belongs. I mean, he's long, he's big. He was getting physical and not afraid to do it. I think it's a smart approach day one without pads to just like try to bully some guys. It can work out. So I thought he looked good. Max Melton from Rutgers, I thought did not. I thought he was one of the worst corners on either team today, which is unfortunate. But corner's tough. I'll keep saying corner is tough.
Yeah. Cam Hart, I think has the longest arms. Of the corners here. So you like that?
And you can see it. He uses them.
Well, let's get to the star of the DBs, and it's Quinyon Mitchell. Stud out there today.
I mean, lockdown. You're coming from, you're coming from the MAC and going up against it. I think people were worried, like, what's that jump from Toledo to playing against? Like we talked about, great group of receivers on this team, and Quinyon Mitchell was the one corner that no matter who he went against. I mean, his reaction time was phenomenal. One of the best that I've seen in an all-star game. The ability to stick step for step on some of these cuts. I mean, he was jumping balls. He was looked consistent in some of the team drills. He's got to be a first-round pick.
Yeah, I heard Jeff Risdon. I was listening to a little bit of their wrap-up podcast before we came on, and he said that he saw one rep where Quinyon Mitchell got flagged for a hold early, and he said it was a right call. He said, but he took that and learned from it, and the next rep completely different, and he never did it again. And he said that kind of mental processing goes a long way as well to how you are as a corner. But no, even on if he lost a rep today, he didn't lose it by much. He was in the hip pocket of all these receivers, and we're talking receivers that are much smaller than him, should be able to just get away from him with a little shake and shimmy, and it wasn't happening. Quinyon Mitchell was locked down today.
Yeah, he was great. I hope that stays, and I think he's in competition to be the number one corner off the board if he keeps playing like this.
I'm not ruling anything out. He was tremendous today. All right, let's move into the trenches. Like I said, I didn't watch this a whole lot. I caught some of it I was actually watching that on film before we came on. Biggest takeaway I saw was Talisay Fuaga is the real deal.
Yeah, real deal. I mean, my next mock, I think top 15 offensive tackle 3 feels right at home. And it wouldn't surprise me if Fuaga ends up even passing an Olufashanu, something like that. I think we could be talking about that. Really consistent from what I saw on film from Fuaga today.
Yeah, first rep he had against Latu, he body bagged him.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
fun.
that was which was fun to see that matchup.
Yeah, yeah, and
Great.
I mean, and Latu was great the rest of the day
Yeah,
from all accounts. But that first rep, um, guy you wrote about earlier this year, I thought he was roller coastering today a little bit. Kingsley Salmatea from BYU.
yeah, I think that transition inside, he struggled early. I thought he started getting it together, so I'm interested to see how the rest of the week goes. But similar to his season, to be honest with you, was
Right.
like some really good things and some really not good things. So Suamate is one to follow, but I think we're looking more day 2 to day 3 for him.
Yeah, I think day 2 developmental is where we're heading with him, be it as a guard or tackle or both. I think
Yeah,
that's where
I
we're
think
headed.
the way in he's gonna have to play guard.
Yeah. What was his weigh in?
Yeah, I mean
What was he?
the arm,
55. Yeah,
right?
arm
Arms
length's 34.
is
I mean,
fine, but he's
but
short, and I think that's
yeah,
gonna be an issue.
6'4". Weight's fine. Arm length is fine. But yeah, well, it's the instincts on the outside. He was getting beat with some quick moves out there. Inside might be his best bet. Speaking of inside, I thought the most impressive that I've seen so far on the national team, the interior offensive line, was Isaiah Adams from Illinois. Thought he had a really good day to day, repping at center, repping at guard. Was Adams.
Yeah, pretty consistent. Definitely a name I circled that I didn't expect to. So, like Adams, my best was Jackson Powers Johnson from
Oh
Oregon.
yeah,
He
oh yeah.
was flat out, moving guys off the line in some of these, run play reps and run blocking reps, and then the pass blocking reps. The footwork was good. I think Jackson Powers Johnson. I've had him in the first round. I think my last 2 mocks. I think that is here to stay.
I think, yeah. That's I saw somebody earlier who said if you're still drafting Jackson Powers Johnson in the second round of your mock draft simulators, you can just stop. That's not happening anymore.
Well, look mighty good here in Pittsburgh. I'll say that.
Man, that the last 12 picks of the first round may all be offensive linemen.
They might be.
It's man, it's this is a hell of a offense. It's a good year to need offensive linemen, right?
Yeah, you could go hard.
Any before we move over to the other side of the line there, any other offensive lineman, good or bad?
Yeah, Roger Rosengarten was not a player, after his national championship struggles. Was like, yeah, let's see. But he had a solid, a very solid day. A lot of upside, I think, that is kind of untapped. So he was on my good list.
Yeah, wish we could have saw his teammate Faltano here, but pulled out of the game. Speaking of just a quick note here on Zach Frazier. He is injured. He is here. He's taking reps in non-contact drills, but man broke his fibula like 6 weeks ago, and he's out here repping in non-contact drills, and he said he's going to be ready by the combine. That's tough,
that would be
man.
impressive.
That's tough.
I don't think he's doing these. Maybe the combine drills, but I don't think he's going to be running.
I don't think he's running a 40. He might lift. I don't think he's doing any shuttles or anything.
No.
But yeah, I thought Tanner Bordolini struggled a little bit. Wisconsin center guard there.
Yeah, I didn't write anything down, so I didn't catch anything good or bad, I guess. But Tanner Bordolini's not high on my priority list.
There you go. We'll call it indifferent on him.
Yeah.
Defensive line. We talked about Latu already. Guy I did not have circled here as stud coming in, or I expected on day one, was Gabe Hall from Baylor, but unblockable in the one-on-ones today.
Yeah, no one could touch him. It was not something that shows up on film either. So I'm interested to see if he keeps this going. He's gonna be one of those. All right, I got to go back and watch again.
Gotta go back.
And what am I missing? What happened? But I mean, Gabe Hall, the hand usage, the power, the lower body power was great today.
We talked about Kingsley San Mateo from BYU earlier. A guy who's going to be in his nightmares tonight is Marshawn Nealand from Western Michigan. Man, dump trucked his ass on one rep. It was bad news. Did you see? I posted in the article. Marshawn Nealand GPS today over 20 miles per hour.
I saw that in your article. Yeah,
for a defensive lineman. Well, he's 268, so I guess he's more of an edge guy. I'm probably gonna have to move him there, but yeah, 268, but over 20 miles per hour. That's wild.
It's impressive. I thought he was, there's a couple contenders. I thought maybe he was the most impressive, defensive lineman today, and I think Nealand's playing his way into round 2 probably.
Yeah. Older prospect, 7th-year player,
right?
But that might keep him down into that maybe late 3, early 4 area. But yeah, he was impressive today. Definitely going to be a nice rotational piece next year for sure. Anybody stick out to you on the flip side here?
Not too much. I didn't. There wasn't anyone that was like, oh man, this is rough. From the national side, I'm trying to see if. So I don't have anyone like bad, if that's the case.
Yeah, I had some negative notes on Tyler Davis from Clemson, not just because he played at Clemson, but I did have some negative notes there for him. I thought he struggled a little bit, and Brandon Dorless didn't pop as much as I would have seen.
Yeah, I didn't have anything on Dorless, which is surprising. Another guy probably got to switch to edge. He's slimming down.
Yeah,
I think he's
looks that way.
But I think I put him in this weird position where he didn't feel natural.
Yeah, Pete Smith was talking about him today in reference to like the Bengals. He said he strikes him as the kind of defensive lineman the Bengals draft because they can play him up and down the line, kind of like Cam Sample and to Sam Hubbard in a way.
Yeah,
those type of guys. I can see that. Quick, go through some quick notes here on the national team. Brennan Jackson, the edge rusher for Washington State, left practice early today. Looked like he rolled his ankle. I don't expect him back the rest of the week.
No.
So he didn't get to practice. That was early in practice too. So you hate to see that. I mean, he really gets no tape at all out there at all. I mean, you hate to see that. So that's a bummer. I kind of felt bad for Sam Hartman. He had some nice throws today. He did have some nice throws today, but he is getting zero attention on that team. With all due respect, he probably shouldn't. With the other two quarterbacks on that roster.
Yeah, with Bo Nix and Michael Penix.
I mean, two potential first rounders. They're going to get all the attention. But I thought Hartman, he's going to press all week, right? It seems that way. Because he's going to have to, just to try to stick out amongst those quarterbacks.
Well, what did you think of the other two? I mean, what was your takeaways from Penix and Nix?
In watching the one-on-ones, Penix threw some great balls, man. Some really tight window throws, especially to guys like Corley. I think made a couple of tight catches in that. Bo Nix, I thought of the three was the most consistent that I saw today. In the reps. How about you?
I thought Nix did the best in the team drills. He seemed to have a better command, whereas I think Penix was a little slow to make a decision. Some of the 11-on-11 stuff. But I'm with you on the one-on-ones. I mean, Penix was hitting a lot of those. So
Bo Nix is going to be, like I said, I'm just going to say he's going to win the game MVP already. And I don't even know what's going to happen between now and then, but I'm just putting that down.
Yeah, that's fair.
Quickly, top 5 GPS speeds for the national. I don't have this information for the American team yet unless they've tweeted it out and I haven't seen it. But top 5 national team speed today. Tez Walker, 21.18 miles per hour today.
Impressive. I mean, he's on that first round border, so we'll see.
Yep. Max Melton, 20.96. Kalen King, 20.57. Dylan Lobby, 20.44. And I mean, if Dylan Lobby hits 4.4 speed at the combine, because he has in a combine invite, whew.
Yeah. I look that might be
You don't have to you don't have to sell you, right? You've already buying in. How many shares of Dylan Lobby do you already have, Shane?
Look, I might have 1 or 2 in some of these Devy leagues already, so I'm hoping he gets the draft capital.
And Paul's guy, Sione Vaki, 20.32.
Yeah, which is also pretty impressive.
Paul thinks he should be a running back.
Hey, that's fair.
All right, let's move over to the American team. Here, they ran their practices a little bit different. They didn't have. I was hoping they'd do some little pass routes with the running backs and the tight ends. I mean, with the running backs, they did not. They did pass pro, but that's very important and very eye-opening stuff, especially the ones who could do it. And Cody Schrader, the Missouri running back, can do that.
Yes.
Stud in pass blocking today.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what Cody Schrader does well. So you can draft Cody Schrader on day 3. He will pass block for you.
And you need that, right?
I mean, sure, but if you can't do anything, if you can't do other things well, then it's not
Shane, not a Cody Schrader guy. If you're not,
he said like he's fine. He's very productive. He's fine. I didn't think he looked. He's just not athletic enough to me.
He's not, but great pass blocker.
Great pass blocker.
You know who else was a great pass blocker today that I was not expecting, because I didn't really watch a whole lot of him this year, was Michael Wiley, the running back from Arizona.
Yeah, and he's not a huge guy, so I think that's always impressive to me when you're not getting the 215 Cody Schraders. I think so. Wiley, that's a way to make a name for yourself and be getting to a camp.
One who I expected to be a good pass blocker because of where he played his college football, turns out is a good pass blocker, and that's Dejan Edwards from Georgia. How was he not on the original running backs brought into this game?
I wonder if it was I'm not going to, and then I feel like they had to have invited him, and he just didn't accept, and they had to move on, and then now they could come back or something. But yeah, I mean, he had as good a day as you could have for an American running back. Didn't do too much.
Right. Him and Michael Wiley both only on this team and in this game because Jawar Jordan and Jalen of Louisville and Jalen Wright, Tennessee, pulled out. We don't know why they did, but they did.
Jalen Wright's hurt. He had surgery in season, so I saw that. But Jawar Jordan, I did not see.
Okay. One running back who did struggle a bit in pass pro, not surprising, as he is 5'7", is Amani Bailey from TCU.
Yeah, not a great day for Amani Bailey. Once again, they just didn't do the things that he would probably be good at. But
hopefully we'll see that as the week
hopefully
goes
tomorrow.
On.
Yeah.
Flip side of it, there wasn't, the linebackers didn't really stick out to me in the pass rush situations, but one who did was Tyrese Knight from UTEP.
I thought he was impressive all around. I think he looked pretty smooth, smoother than I thought he would be coming from UTEP. So definitely arrow up on Tyrese Knight.
Yep. Let's move on to, because I didn't get to see a whole lot of running back linebacker pass routes, so I just kind of moved my focus over to one-on-one pass routes between wide receivers, tight ends, and the DBs. And quickly, one more running back. I guess they moved Ray Davis over. He in the running back drills, I thought he did a pretty good job out there, high pointing the football and stuff. Right, which not unexpected.
Yeah, no, that was fair. Hopefully, we get a little more of the American running backs. Running backs, like we said, are tough unless you're on the national team. So
quickly, if you're stacking those American team running backs, Ray Davis got to be at the top, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think Deshaun Edwards isn't too far up, but I think Ray Davis is clearly the number one.
Fully expected here. This is called what do you call it? Checking the box. Lad McConkey route running.
Yeah, I think he was by far the best receiver on the American squad today. Just getting open. We know he has that route running ability. He showcased it consistently.
Tight end the tight ends were better on the American team. Let's just say that. But I'm going to use tight end in air quotes here when I talk about Jaheim Bell. He's not a tight end. 6'1" is not a tight end in my opinion. Could be wrong, but he's such a good athlete, and where he needs to get in one of these Shanahan offenses, right? That's kind of where he needs to end up. One of these Shanahan disciples.
Right. It should. Well, unfortunately, the 49ers making the Super Bowl. There's going to be less of them than there should be. But yeah, put him in that Kyle Juszczyk type role and let him run the ball a little bit and catch the ball to the backfield. Jaheim Bell's, it's just going to be a question of fit of where you can put him.
He's not a question of athlete or catching or anything like that. He is a stud in the open field, and he absolutely smoked Maryland safety Bo Braid today. Shook off the contact and just rode right by him. And it sucks for Bo Braid because that's the only highlight of anybody's going to see of him today. But I thought he had a good day other than that. But that one's going to stick on him, I believe.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The other tight end, I didn't see a whole lot of Ben Sinnott today. Did he?
Yeah, I thought he was impressive. I actually thought he was maybe the best consistently in some of the team drills was getting open. So at least from, I didn't watch everything, but I was impressed. Ben Sinnott's the name I circled. So
I did not see him today. I did see Jared Wiley make a great catch though.
Yeah.
And of all the tight ends in this class, he's the one that actually looks like a tight end.
That's fair. He's actually got that size and some receiving ability to boot.
6'7", 255. I don't think he's a big separator by any means. Not an athlete. Let's just say that. But I think Jared Wiley is going to be a good number 2 tight end.
Yeah, I think he'll be a good number 2 tight end. I mean, I think early day 3, someone probably takes a shot on him.
Yeah. You mentioned some wide receivers. They struggled a little bit on this American team. We're going to get to one that I don't want to talk about struggle, but we'll talk about it. But Louisville wide receiver Jamari Thrash, I thought showed off his speed today.
Yeah, I mean, he was impressive. I think you see where that production comes from this year at Louisville. So Thrash near the top of my receiver list for the American team.
Yeah, I had in my notes, he beat Carlton Johnson, who's a late call-up corner from Fresno State, beat him pretty good. Best safety I saw today on either team is the best safety in this draft class, in my opinion, is Cameron Kinchens from Miami.
Yeah, he was on a whole different level. I felt from all the other safeties, just the movement, the explosion, really impressive in terms of even reading the offense. So I agree with you, Kinchens by far.
He ran a route for Jaheim Bell today, undercut him, dropped the ball. I mean, you got to finish, man. Got to finish.
Boom.
But yeah, one receiver that showed he belonged out there today was Southeast Missouri State wide receiver Ryan Florno.
Yeah, I thought Ryan Florno was consistently good. Another really good route runner. Got the call up, and he's showcased himself. I think putting himself in that draftable range.
Yep. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the chicken in the room, if you will. Xavier Legette, man, this was not his, in your opinion, not his best 2 days of life.
No, I mean, Leggett, wide receiver, South Carolina. The weigh in. I think he was among the worst, coming in at 6'1" when he's listed at 6'3", is kind of rough. And plus his small hands being under the 9 mark. And then today, man, just a couple bad drops, big drop deep and out routes, right in his hands, just missed it. Like we said, for receivers, hey, if you can fix that, clean that up the next 2 days, not a big deal. I'm not we've joked on the pod, I'm not a Xavier Leggett guy. He'll get drafted decently high, but it's not been a good start to Senior Bowl week for him.
Yeah, he didn't separate well today either.
Yeah,
which is a big part of his game. So that's something he's got to really show these next 2 days. He's got to be able to get off this jam and be able to create some space. Flip it back over to the defense. Just a couple of notes I had here. Georgia safety Tyke Smith was doing he didn't do it in the one-on-ones, but in the little pre where they're in individual position groups, he was working out with the linebackers. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I would not expect that when he came in under 5'10", 206.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put him a linebacker.
5'9", 206.
Yeah, 5'9" and 3/4. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he sticks there. I wonder if it's just a team is like, hey, let's just go through it. But like I said, during the rest of the reps, he was with the safeties.
Okay.
So that was just something it caught my eye, and I had to make a note about it. Speaking of safeties that are now linebackers, he kind of struggled a little bit out there, but if you want to see what a linebacker is supposed to look like, Miami's James Williams, third-year player, just chiseled out there at 6'4", 230.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a rocked up linebacker, 5-star recruit. He has the athleticism. I think the transition was definitely the struggle for James Williams.
Yeah.
So once again, he's going to be graded on a curve here the next couple days.
Yeah, a team that drafts him, you want to see the steady improvement. This is his first time playing linebacker, but if you watch the tape, he played safety like a linebacker. So I mean, he was basically a free safety linebacker, if you will. He wasn't even in the box safety. I mean, he played deep, but played the game like a linebacker. So you have to think, though, I mean, that's got to help, like him being able to carry a tight end or something like that, or a running back. That's got to help. Once he gets the nuance part of the linebacker position down, that could be a good investment for a team, maybe late on day 2.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how the combine goes. I mean, I tend to lean more day 3 for that kind of transition, but someone might fall in love with the tools.
Depends on that. That might be one of the ones. If he hits a high RAS, then all bets are off, right? We have not talked about any of the American team quarterbacks yet. I mean, kind of trying to avoid this myself, but did any of these guys stick out to you positively?
No, I thought Michael Pratt from Tulane had some nice throws in there. I think Joe Milton struggled. I think Carter Bradley, honestly, was probably the most consistent quarterback of the group, which is saying something. Like he may have thrown the most consistent ball. But I thought Joe Milton struggled. Spencer Rattler from South Carolina, I thought had a pretty rough day, especially in some of the team stuff. Rattler just looked lost.
Yeah, in the one-on-ones, Rattler was fine. He threw a catchable ball to his guys most of the time, but the team drills, man, he threw an interception, got sacked like twice. It's struggling. I mean, he even struggled in 7-on-7, like just making a decision quick. And there's nobody rushing you at that point.
Right. There's less to process.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal for Rattler. I really hope to see him get better. But, man, no, it was a rough day. I think Pratt was the best quarterback of the 4 there, but it's a low bar to get over for sure. But hey, Joe Milton can do a backflip.
Joe Milton can do a backflip. So if that's on your card for an NFL quarterback, then great job.
Yeah, there's somebody I saw on Twitter earlier. It's like, oh look, there's a stationary target, and Joe Milton overthrew him.
Numerous times today, from what I saw.
It's oh man, he's rough. But yeah, so that's it. Day one of practice in the books, Shane. All we can hope for is we're coming on the air tomorrow night. Normal podcast tomorrow. Well, I say normal podcast. We're going to be doing the same thing we're doing now, but we're just going to be doing our normal day of the week show. Hopefully we're seeing improvement, right?
Yeah, I think that's the goal, right? You can see improvement for some of these players day to day. It's a new environment. You're working with players you've never worked with before. In a football team, that's difficult to do quickly. So just don't take day one. Oh, this is how it is. This is how it's going to be. Guys can bounce back, start to have a good day. Really, I think day two into day three is the most important. Tomorrow's probably the most important day, and that's really where you see in pads who's going to be able to take this momentum into the NFL and has that real skill set.
Yeah, somebody asked me earlier what day I thought was the most important day of practice, and I said tomorrow because on Thursday, for some reason or another, like I said, I don't know if the flights getting out of Mobile are cheaper on Thursday. I have no idea, but a lot of the NFL guys empty out of here on Thursday. So today and tomorrow might be the only 2 full days of practice these guys see in person. Now, obviously, they're going to watch the film and everything else of the Thursday practice. But I think tomorrow, like you said, is the most important day.
Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about it tomorrow. See if what we talked about today sticks or if some of the things change.
Yep. All right. So we're going to wrap it up with that tonight. That was day one of the Senior Bowl in the books. You can go to draftcountdown.com right now, read my report. Paul's will be up, I believe, in the morning. Hopefully, we'll see. But yeah. So anyway, I don't tweet a whole lot while I'm at practice. I wish I did, but my fingers are fat, my thumbs are fat, and I just end up screwing it all up, and it'll look like gibberish anyway. So I just kind of try to save it all for the report. So you can go to draftcountdown.com, read that right now, and it'll be there all week. But you can, but I would appreciate it if you'd follow me on Twitter at Deep Fried Draft, follow Shane on Twitter at Shane P. Hallam, and of course, go to draftcountdown.com and follow Draft Countdown on Twitter at Draft Countdown, and go to draftcountdown.com, wherever you're talking about Senior Bowl, probably for at least another week. But for Shane, I'm Brian. Good night, everybody.